Hey, this is attorney Elizabeth Potts-Weinstein, and today we're going to talk about the problems with using LegalZoom to create your LLC. So if you're thinking of creating a limited liability corporation or LLC for your new business, you really have three different options. Option one is to do it yourself, do all the filings yourself. Option number two is to hire a service like LegalZoom, InkFile, there's a bunch of different ones you can hire. And number three is to hire some kind of professional individual person to do it, which could be a lawyer. Some CPAs and accountants also do it too, which we can go into that on the topic of another video. But here we're focusing on whether or not it makes sense to use LegalZoom or another filing service to create your LLC. There are a few situations where it actually may make sense, but most of the time you're going to be better off with a different solution. So let's go into why. Number one, if you're using LegalZoom or another filing service to create your LLC, fundamentally you're paying them money for you to fill out a form and then they fill out a form. All states have online filing now. So you're going to just go on the website to file it in that state and fill out a form on that website. Or you can go on the website of LegalZoom and fill out a form. I mean, it's really not that much different. This is a big change from years ago. 20 years ago, when you wanted to create an LLC, you had to fill out a paper form and you needed to file that either by mail or in person in the Secretary of State office for your state. Totally made sense to hire a service to do that, especially because they could go file it in person and get it handled much faster than dealing with the mail. But now it's online filing. And if you file it in person, it actually takes longer than online filing, so you might as well file it online. And that's what LegalZoom is going to do for you. They're going to file it online. So either you can file online or you can fill out a form to give them information so they can file it online. It's not significantly different because you're still typing the exact same info in an online form. So let's go ahead and look at the LegalZoom website to talk about the other reasons why it may not be the best idea for you. So if you go to LegalZoom.com, you can get their help in forming a business. Now, let's say you already know you want to do an LLC. Here, it says it's going to be $79 plus the state filing fees, which of course depends on your state. Okay, that sounds very reasonable price, $79. But is it actually $79? Let's say you don't know what the name is going to be. We're just going to skip that part. In what state are you going to form your business? So we're just going to put California because I'm here located in California, but obviously that would be a decision you'd have to make. Okay, so tell us about your business and see what the different options are. Who's going to be the primary contact? I'm going to skip that for right now. When do you want to start your business? Let's just say soon. Is this your first LLC? Let's just say yes. What does your business do? Now this is really important because the industry for your business says what kind of LLC you can have, or even if you're allowed to have an LLC at all. So this is one of my other issues with using a service like LegalZoom, is some people will form their LLC or even a corporation using an online service, and they're not allowed to have that type of business because of the profession that they're in. Usually this is someone who is a licensed professional. So it could be a doctor or a lawyer, but it could also be an acupuncturist. I mean, there's a lot of different professions that are licensed, and in their particular state, they have to form a professional corporation or a professional LLC instead of a regular LLC or regular corporation. And in some states, they're not allowed to do LLCs at all. There isn't a professional LLC option. You may not realize that when you're filling this out, and you may not put the right industry in there. So let's just say though you're a consultant. So consultants I know for sure can do an LLC because I'm a lawyer and I obviously know the answer. Where will your business sell its product or services? Let's say you're selling them online. Will you have employees? So it says to not count yourself. Well, that's not necessarily true because if you're an LLC taxed as an S corporation, you will be an employee, but they're assuming that you're not doing that. That's an incorrect assumption. because for a lot of my clients, they actually do want that. That's one of the reasons they're forming an LLC, so it can be taxed as an S Corp and they can do all the tax savings. So let's just say we're assuming that they know what they're talking about, and we're going to say no, because we're not counting ourselves. Okay, let's keep your LLC legally compliant to avoid setbacks. So now it's going to start talking to you about all the other services that they offer. There's nothing inherently wrong with them offering other services, but these are things that, generally speaking, you actually do need. This is not included in the $79. So let's go into that. Registered agent service. So you typically have to have a registered agent for your LLC, which is some person or entity that can accept legal documents on your behalf. Now, this could be you personally if you're comfortable having your address be public. So if you have an office, then that should be totally fine. If you work from home, you may not want your home address in publicly available database. So you may not want to be your own registered agent, then you want to hire a service. There are many services out there that you can pay for. Your accountant might even do it for you as included in the fees you already pay them. Typically the fees are between $75 to $150 a year. That's what the fees are. So here it says there's no charges until your documents are submitted to the state. Then it's $249 for the first year. And then who knows how much it's going to be after that, because it just says $249. So that's an annual fee that they could raise. And by the way, they have raised that in the past. So let's just say we're going to continue with LegalZoom. We're going to go ahead and do that. Well, what about other things that you need? So this is one of the other reasons that using LegalZoom can be an issue is it's not just about filing it with the state. You also need a bunch of other documents and file other filings to make your LLC legit. One of them is an operating agreement. It's kind of like a partnership agreement, except it's called an operating agreement because it's an LLC. Even if you're a one-owner business, you still want one of these. Most places you're not required to have it, but you want one because it is a paper trail to show that you have a legit business. So they have a form operating agreement for $99. They'll help you get your EIN, your employer tax identification number with the IRS. This is like a social security number for your LLC. Even if you don't have employees, you would want to go ahead and get that. And then it also says they'll help you with licenses. I'm not 100% sure what's included in that. So they say that they'll do license and permit mandatory. Our trusted partner, Avalera, will prepare a summary of all these things along with their applications. So I don't know if they're actually doing the applications for you or they're just giving you a list of the applications. I'm assuming they're not doing it for you because that really $50 isn't really enough to do every license, permit, and state tax registration that you might need, especially for certain industries. You need a lot of them. So I'm assuming they're just giving you the links and what the applications are, which is a value, but it's maybe not what you're thinking you're going to get. But let's assume we want all these things: the operating agreement, the EIN, and the licenses. By the way, getting an EIN is something that for most people you can do online. For most people, it is very simple and you get it immediately with the IRS. The only time you run into trouble is if the owner doesn't have a social security number because you're not a U.S. citizen, you're located outside the United States, you're not a permanent resident, then I'm just going to say it's more complicated and you actually do want someone to help you with it. And you want an acceptance agent to help you with it. The operating agreement, they're of course giving you a template. This is something you're going to review and want to make sure that it actually is what you want for your particular business, and you're going to have to sign the thing. So often people will use a service like this and they don't actually implement stuff. They get this form, operating agreement, or they get bylaws and minutes for their corporation. They don't sign them. They're useless. If you don't sign it, it's useless. Okay? You might as well not have paid for it. So let's say we're going to get the operating agreement. We're going to have them help you with the EIN, and then we're going to pay for this license summary thing. Okay, so that was $199. We're adding another $199. Now they have something called total compliance. What is total compliance? It is helping you They're going to take care of annual report filings and formalities. Some places you don't really have this. In California, your LLC only needs to do an annual report every 2 years. So we offer this for 10 days with your LLC order. Then it's $280 a year. So there's another $280 a year. And that's at 10 days. Okay. And then it'll be a subscription that you're going to pay every year. I'm honestly not sure what this includes. If I click more info, it says it gives you information about your annual filings, minutes, which you don't need necessarily do minutes with an LLC. We'll take care of all your California annual filings. You only need to do them every other year for an LLC. Will pay the fine or penalty if miss a deadline. But however, you have to still pay the government filing fees. I actually think this is kind of funny because in California, the filing fee for this is like $20. So you're paying $280 and they're not throwing in the $20. It's like, really? And you have to fill out a questionnaire at least 15 business days before the filing date. So here's another example. If you're filling out a form for them to fill out a form, they'll manage your minutes with the minute manager service. You're still going to have to do the minutes, but they're going to effectively have you paste to put it, which you could put in a Dropbox or Google Docs or something if you wanted. You do need to sign them though. Okay, so let's just say we're going to do that. Take the included trial. Now it has tax and accounting plans and legal protect plans. So here's where we get to legal advice and tax advice. So up until this point, LegalZoom is not giving you any advice about what you should be doing. Whether or not you should have an LLC corporation, whether or not what state you should be in, whether or not your industry can have a certain thing. Like no lawyer has given you advice about anything. This is the place where you can actually, through LegalZoom, get advice from a lawyer, which is a good thing. So they have two different plans. One where they do business tax prep, including quarterly estimates. And the other is where you also can get tax advice. So the Essentials Tax Prep, $99 per month versus full service for $159 per month. I don't even know what the difference is. All right. So the Business Tax Prep, they do your state and federal return. So that's actually a very good value. They do your quarterly estimates, help you make the S Corp election, which is an important thing to do if you're doing S Corp. The full service one, it looks like you get a subscription to QuickBooks Online. Let's see what they're actually doing your books though. So you're paying $159 per month, but that's a lot per year. I'll have to add that up in a second. And they're doing your taxes, which is great, but they're not doing your accounting. They're just setting it up in QuickBooks and then it's for you to do. So we're going to select that because we're trying to add this all up. Now, let's say you want to have a lawyer actually give you advice. You have questions you need to answer. So they have a service where it's $49 a month and you get 10 days for free, whatever. It's $49 a month then. And what you get is 30-minute consultations with a lawyer on any new matter. So you can't ask multiple 30 minutes for the same lawyer about the same question. It's just like the kind of initial consultation is included. And they will also review legal documents. And it looks like they have a legal forms library, which that actually may be very valuable. I haven't seen their legal forms library, but sometimes having access to something like that is very helpful. So that's $49 a month. Okay, but we're getting a trial. Now you can get things express filing. Okay. So whether or not this makes any sense really depends upon the state that you're in, but generally speaking, it does not take that long to process your filings. If I did an LLC filing today here in California, this is in mid-November. We are getting close to a holiday, but we're not quite at Thanksgiving yet. I would guesstimate that it would go through right that second in the sense of it's online filing, but a human has to look at it. So today's Tuesday, they would probably look at it by Friday or next Monday. There's a possibility it could be a delay if everyone's off next week, but generally speaking, we're looking at 3 to 5 business days when it gets reviewed if you do online filing. So I don't know why you would be paying this estimated processing time extra $349 between, no, it's $79 to $349. So it's a difference between those to go to 10 business days. I mean, it shouldn't take 10 business days to process. It's going to be just a couple. I'm assuming the processing is LegalZoom's processing. That if you don't pay this extra fee, it's going to take 30 business days to process. So let's go down and look at this. You also, with the higher ones, you get a founder's kit with an embosser and membership certificates. These are things you don't need. It seems really cool because you have this cool binder. Yeah, dude, you don't need that. We'll prioritize your and do it within 10 business days, and you get all your documents, fastest shipping option. With an LLC, you don't get any documents back if you do online filing. It comes in via email. It's a PDF. That's a certified copy. So you don't actually need that. So let's assume that I'm gonna go ahead and select the highest thing. Let's assume you want this $349 one because you don't want to have to wait a month before anything gets done. Okay, so we're gonna select that. They also have other things they try to upsell you on. We're gonna not even talk about those issues. So it's now churning it. Okay. So here's what it says, is that we're getting the express thing for $349 plus $70 filing fee, the operating agreement, EIN, and information about licenses. It's saying these things, it's not adding the amount of money because those are a 10-day free trial and then they start charging you later. So going all down to this, it's one payment of $638. But you have to do, and you also have to do the first month of the tax thing, plus you have to add in the registered agent is going to be $249. The total compliance, we got the $199, the full service thing, the legal protection plan. So we're adding up all these things. Not only is it going to be this $638, let me find a calculator to add it all up. That's your initial thing you're gonna have in the first month. That actually, I didn't include the, I don't think I added no, actually that's all included because I used that $638. That includes your filing fees. Not for licenses and permits, it includes the filing fees that they have listed here. Then you're gonna have the annual fee things are, yeah, that's a lot. Now, some of these things are valuable. I think the tax plan makes a lot of sense. You might rather working with someone in person, but having a tax plan makes a lot of sense. The legal protect plan, getting the advice of a lawyer, that's reasonably priced. If you actually use it every month, if you're doing the 30 minutes every month, you're using the document library, that may make sense. But for a lot of other things, like registered agent, you're not really getting much of anything. The total compliance, you might not be getting much of anything. Like a lot of these things are not that valuable, well, some of them are. And one of the other aspects is they do increase the annual cost things. So registered agents used to cost a lot less. Some of these things, they increase and you might not really notice until all of a sudden the price is more, and having to switch can be a bit of a hassle. Now that's true for any service. Any service might go up. Occasionally it's a good idea to use a service like LegalZoom. So for example, let's say English is not your first language, you are not fluent, and you're having trouble figuring this out, like literally just filling out the forms, because the government websites can be difficult to understand. So it could be because you have a learning disability, because English is not your first language, because legal stuff is just completely you can't even understand what the stuff is. It may make sense to work with a company like LegalZoom or InkFile or one of these to help you do it, because at least then you have a person making sure the form is literally filled out, like the things are the right blanks. That can make a lot of sense. Another reason it can make sense to use a service is if you're not a US citizen and not a permanent resident of the United States, it's a bit of a hassle to do all the IRS stuff because you don't have a social security number. So you have to get the ITIN, there's all these things. You want to use an exceptions agent to do that. I haven't had a client use LegalZoom for that. I've had clients use other services that specialize in that exact issue, but you're going to want to use somebody who has boots on the ground in Washington, D.C. and can go to the IRS and file things in person. It'll get through a lot faster than if you have to try to do things online. I don't know if LegalZoom actually does that part, but there are online services that do that. For a lot of people, if you're not comfortable with do-it-yourself, you actually want some kind of legal advice to help you make the decisions. That could be hiring a lawyer. It could also be hiring getting that legal service through LegalZoom. But recognize that if you have a question of whether or not an LLC or corporation is the right thing for me, do I need a registered agent? Can I just be my own registered agent? I need to get this business license, but they're not accepting it. What do I need to do? There's a lot of questions that you might have that you actually need a person to answer. So either you have to pay extra for that through LegalZoom or another service, or you need to go hire a lawyer anyway. Again, this is Elizabeth Potts-Weinstein. If you have questions about what we've talked about today, feel free to go ahead and post them below and I'll try to point you in the right direction. Thumbs up if you found this video helpful, and subscribe if you'd like more tips and advice for small business owners. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.